Today, reacting to Hassan. Trump has the lowest approval rating in 80 years. Says something, doesn't it?
We got Trump's lowest approval rating in any president in the past 80 years here. And this is something that I've been talking about, that I've been trying to explain. A big part of this, especially even on the immigration side, where Trump is finally reaching disapproval.
I just want to say something real quick, bro. Like, obviously someone else said this shit. This isn't original. I seen a reporter talking to Trump, and it's like, you know, when the market is doing good, when he creates a false narrative that everything's gonna be okay and the market goes up, he takes all the fucking, what's that shit called, bro? What the fuck, bro? When the market is going up, he takes all of the fucking, it's me. You know what I'm saying? He did it. You know what I'm saying? But if it goes down, oh, this is Biden's market. This is Biden's market, and it has nothing to do with me. I'm a great president. I have the lowest approval rating in 80 years of any president ever. I'm amazing.
Approval for the first time ever. Like,
we're doing so much winning
on immigration, which is supposed to be his strongest, his strongest aspect of his campaign. The reason why is because finally the Democrats have made a big fuss about it, and the media started covering it. And eventually, once the media started covering it, people were like, "Oh my God, I had no idea. This is depraved."
WD,
and that's precisely what I said would happen.
Said.
Every single thing he has fucked up. Basically, every single goddamn thing, from immigration to foreign policy,
putting that shit down in the back,
trade to lowering costs of goods, all this stuff. And some Democrats have at least like pushed the conversation in an appropriate way, and therefore media is covering it, and therefore, lo and behold, his approval ratings are going down on that front too. And I'm glad that they've done that.
This morning, as President Trump approaches his 100th day back in office, new warning signs about how Americans are viewing his work so far. Just 39% approving of how he's handling the job, according to our new ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll. That's the lowest 100-day approval rating of any president in the past 80 years.
Fake polls.
On the economy, Trump promised to lower costs and boost growth, a message that was key to his victory.
I will instruct my cabinet that I expect results within the first 100 days or much sooner than that.
Now, 53% say the economy has gotten worse since Trump took office, with 72% saying it's very or somewhat likely his economic policies will cause a recession.
Damn.
Fears fueled by the president's trade war. The backlash.
All y'all in the fucking comments. This isn't a recession. He knows what he's doing. This is just his master plan to save the United States of America. We're Americans. Shut your ass up. Shut your dumb ass up. You pissing me off, bro. Y'all are so fucking stupid. I'm sorry. But it's like, bro, Trump supporters are so brain dead.
Now felt across the country at explosive town halls. Overnight in West Nyack, New York, Republican Congressman Mike Lawler getting an earful.
This was awesome.
And when you look at, for instance, Europe has price controls on U.S. prescription drugs.
Blah, blah, blah.
The president is eager to prove his trade policies are paying off, telling Time magazine he's already made 200 deals, despite there only being 195 countries in the world. The willing to say what they were or which countries are involved. Are Martha Raddatz pressing
Oh my
the
God, bro. This guy's a fucking dumbass. Oh my God. 195 countries in the world. He said there's 200 deals. Actually, only 194, because you know he's not doing shit with Russia. What are the chances that Trump is KGB? It's not crazy to say. It's not crazy to say. Every country getting reciprocal tariffs but Russia? It's not crazy to say. And you're not proving me otherwise. I'm not gonna lie. Well, you could prove me otherwise. Honestly, I want people to prove me otherwise, but because it'd be crazy if our president was like connected to fucking Russians.
Treasury Secretary.
Is there actually any deal at this point?
I believe that he is referring to sub-deals within the negotiations we're doing. And Martha, if there are 180
But those aren't actual deals.
Martha, if there are 180 countries, there are 18 important trading partners. Let's put China to the side because that's a special negotiation. There's 17 important trading partners, and we have a process in place over the next 90 days to negotiate with them.
Trump says he will not roll back his staggering 145% tariff on all Chinese products entering the U.S. without substantial concessions, though he claims the U.S. and China are talking. But Beijing says that's not the case, that the two countries are not currently negotiating over tariffs. And our polling shows Americans have concerns.
Are you China pilled like I am?
Low-key, here are my expat country lists. Number 1 is Canada, just because it's the easiest, most familiar. Mm-hmm. Right. Number 2 is Ghana, because black people, and they want us to come. But
Yeah.
I also know people that are there, have been there. They're like, it's cool, but it's still, and like not too far, coming up like fast all of a sudden is China. Shout out to I Show Speed.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I don't know much about Canada or Ghana or whatever the fuck, but we need to watch a video on how China works. Cause I've been seeing like obviously I watch Hassan. I see Hassan react to videos about how China works and shit. Not gonna lie, China's low-key a dub. Am I crazy for saying that? Am I like a socialist or like a communist or some shit for saying that? I'm not, by the way. I'm just wondering, like, because I don't really know how it works for it, but it sounds like a dub. Get social credit and shit. Know how much social credit I'd have? Big W. You know how much social credit Duke Dennis would have? Sorry, I'm sorry. Cut that shit out.
Yup.
for putting China on the map.
Remember I told you I like him.
Yeah, and I remember being like, but I made a video in support of him a little while ago too because I realized what he was doing. There's still some problems there, but like
that's what I was at. That's what I was like at first. I remember before, like, China was labeled as such a bad guy, and I just remember thinking so poorly of China, and I don't know. Recently, it's been growing on me.
I'm not gonna be Aaron Magruder. You feel me? Where people can come back and look at me being a little too hard on essentially kids acting in ways that kids tend to act.
Yeah.
He could be much, much worse.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen that. So
No, the environment that he literally grew up in, he could have been a psychopath, dude. And he has a bunch of like really fucked up things that he did when he was like 16.
I've seen him.
But like considering where he's at now, it's amazing. He's incredible.
Yeah.
Concerns that extend far beyond the economy. When it comes to the courts and key rulings on cases like immigration, 65% say the administration is trying to avoid complying with federal court orders. 62% saying they don't think the president's administration respects the rule of law.
And this morning, the president is reflecting on the difference between his first and second term, telling The Atlantic, quote, "The first time I had two things to do, run the country and survive. Now," he says, quote, "the second time I run the country and the world." George.
Okay, man. Holy shit.
Oh my God. I run the country and the world. Bro, oh my fucking God. Y'all tell me in the comments if I'm crazy to say this shit, but like, is this really far off from Hitler? Like, is it really? I don't know, bro. Crazy. Sending U.S. citizens or just even people who aren't illegally here. They don't even gotta be citizens, but they're legally here. Sending them to fucking concentration camps, basically. And saying that you're the ruler of the world. Yikes.
It's kind of funny because it's like he's basically admitting that now, without any sort of limitations, I'm so much worse.
Yeah.
Than the last time.
Let me pick your brain on like the worst case scenarios.
That's funny.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I won't put it past Trump to turn it around in terms of popularity.
What do you mean? Well, you think he'll get popular again?
Yeah, it doesn't. Remember, we're talking about the American people. We're talking about he was president 4 years ago and it was horrible, and they're still voting him back in. So it's quite possible that he can turn it around in the moment, in the next 100 days after this. If he stops the war in Ukraine, if the economy does take a turn, because like there's so much of the economy, like he can.
It's gonna take a turn, all right, just not in the direction that's positive for Trump.
But at some point in the future, right? China. He can just end the tariffs in China and set everything back to normal and things improve. And China could be like, we didn't do anything, that he just stopped the tariffs. But he could still tell people, I made that happen. I made a deal.
Yeah.
And no one will call him on the fact that he fixed the problem that he caused and just set things back to neutral.
That's classic Trump. He does that all the time.
Right.
For sure.
So you can't put it past him that he gets his popularity back.
No, I think he. My suspicion is, first of all, we haven't seen the worst impacts of his exploding trade yet. Like, we haven't hit the trade dead zone yet. That's coming next month when the lag in supply finally becomes the reality in the form of empty shelves. Mm-hmm. Because it takes around 55 days minimum for goods from China to come into the United States. And we haven't reached like the actual shortage yet.
Right.
But trade has slowed down tremendously. That's going to have a major impact on the logistics in this country. Major sectors like trucking, the
Atlanta's the home of the truckers.
Yeah, stevedores and all the people that are like longshoremen that work the ports, they're cooked. There is going to be downscaling everywhere in the supply chains. Then the grocery stores. Then all of these layoffs, some of which are happening already, like Subaru, I think.
No, go ahead.
Factories are going to start pulling out because they're like, well, parts are too costly for us to manufacture in the United States of America anyway, so we're just not going to do that anymore. That basically is going to create an environment of instability when people start really recognizing the downturn. Because right now the markets are acting as though there's nothing wrong. Like, right. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of instability, but like the severe collapse that is still coming, they are simply not looking at all. And it's like kind of shocking to me that like even retail traders or not retail, sorry, even institutional traders are not factoring this in.
And so with that in mind, right, with that in mind, as things get really bad, people get more desperate.
Literally grew up.
And shit gets realer.
Yeah.
And so the conspiracy theorist to me is like, is this on purpose to kind of put the country in a desperate position? To allow him to claim more powers from the Supreme Court, which has already pre-granted him the power to do whatever the he wants. Like, so we do get Trump 2020 infinity. Yeah, 2028 to infinity.
I think he's too stupid to implement like a thing like that. I feel like they're too dumb. I think what you see is what you get in many instances where like Trump literally is just doesn't know how obsessive with trade deficits in perpetuity, and he unironically is too dumb to recognize how to redesign global trade after multiple decades of America moving manufacturing, offshoring manufacturing, and becoming the global reserve currency. Post Bretton Woods to get cheap goods and become the global reserve currency as a consequence of that.
Right.
Like that scheme was designed by the United States of America.
Right.
I think he genuinely wants to change that because he has a real national security concern with respect to China shutting off the manufacturing faucet. And that's an understandable national security concern to have if you are desperately trying to gear for war against China. Because as the Chinese government did, you can just say, okay, well, there are some key resources that I will no longer send to the United States of America. And they have a damn near monopoly on the procurement of these natural resources, rare earth minerals that are necessary for defense, that are necessary for virtually everything, right? And more importantly than the procurement, which you can, go to Congo and cut a side deal if you want to,
right? But
you can't build a refinement processor, like a refinement facility in the short time necessary for all of these like goods that come into the United States of America. And China currently maintains a monopoly on the refinement.
Right. Yeah. People in between my glazing of China, let's not forget that Elon ain't got nothing on Elon's dad, I should say, doesn't have anything on insert whichever Chinese mega corporation is pulling all the cobalt out of the Congo. The Congo would be, if Wakanda was a real place, it'd be in the Congo. That's how valuable their land is.
And for the record, Chinese ownership over these natural resources have not necessarily been bountiful for the people of Congo either.
Not at all.
It's just that they are a far better ally to many African nations than the West has been historically, because they didn't do chattel slavery. And also,
it's not built into their social fabric of the way they see themselves.
They didn't do chattel slavery, and they offer significantly better loans as opposed to the World Bank and IMF. So these guys are like, yeah, and they don't even try to do destabilization as long as we play ball.
The destabilization happens anyway though, because of the nature of enduring cultural aspects that they're enduring cultural conflicts that they create that they're indifferent to. But we're getting off topic because I got to get out of here so I can take a nap before I go meet with some folks. So the irony is, so what you're saying kind of confirms to me in my head is he's low key accidentally destroying Western hegemony. American hegemony may not survive his presidency. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think he's accelerating America's demise. I think it's an inevitability because of supercharged capitalism. But I think Donald Trump is accelerating the inevitability, accelerating the demise of the United States because of how he's gone about trying to offer a lifeline to the continuation of U.S. empire. What he's trying to do is, in theory, actually smart. It's just in practice, there's no way of doing it with a capitalist framework. Right. If you wanted to defeat China and become a manufacturing hub, you would unironically have to have a command economy like China. But that would require a complete reversal of what America stands for on the global stage as the defender of capitalism.
Right.
They're not going to do that. And even if they were to magically overnight turn into China, there's still a tremendous amount of factory building and a robust infrastructure that you have to build, like a manufacturing base that you have to build, and training that you have to do for the American labor force.
Right.
And that would take at least a decade to fulfill. And Trump is not going to do any of that, clearly. Nope. He just wants to get promises from wealthy friends of his, wealthy benefactors of his, and then that's good enough for him to be like, I'm getting $7 trillion of investment, which is a fucking lot.
First of all, he's not doing it right. But even if he was doing it right, bro, the next person that comes into office is reversing that shit. So it's like, come on, bro, this is your last term. Let's just run for 2028.
So yeah,
I think that's just rage bait, to be honest. No way Trump is running in 2028. That'd be fucking crazy. I don't think so. That's rage bait.
That's the major issue. I think that we're heading down a really scary path, and I don't think it's because Donald Trump thinks I'll use this economic instability to my advantage to do.
So it's not even
martial law.
We're giving him too much credit in terms of him trying to be a dictator, which I don't think way back when I was he's probably not going to run again because I don't think he actually likes having a job per se. But I also, obviously I was wrong about so many things, but I do still think there's a kernel of truth in the fact that his goal isn't so much the power of the presidency and of being the God King that the Christian nationalists want, right?
Yeah, I mean, but he's narcissist. He's going along with, he likes the power for sure. It's not that he likes being president, but he likes the idea of being dictator for sure. But I don't think he has enough foresight to set acts in motion to achieve that.
He's not Machiavellian enough, but he is still Donald Trump. Chad, before I roll, follow me on Twitch. I'm on Twitch now. I don't stream as much, so do that.
FD Signifier.
Shout out to
FD Signifier.
Yeah. The Twitch thing is I'm just trying to create a more robust multiple streams of content to farm myself a little bit more.
WFD Signifier.
What is insane about this story?
Damn, boy. W reacts. Oh man. Yeah, Trump is cooked, buddy. I say Trump is cooked, but we're cooked. We're cooked, buddy.